So, all of the American people all pull out their big red cock-a-doodle-doos. That's right. And the American people all point their big cock-a-doodle-doos in the direction of Russia. And all of the American people ejaculate McDonald's hamburgers and evangelical Christianity all over Russia. That's right. The American people ejaculate evangelical Christianity and McDonald's hamburgers all over Russia. So then, the Russian people respond by pulling out their big red cock-a-doodle-doo! And the Russian people, they all ejaculate vodka all over the United States of America. So then, the American people, they all go out into the streets and they put their tongues out and they lick up all the vodka that's falling from the sky. Meanwhile, at the race car track, the liberals are pushing this big, round, Democratic testicle around and around this race car track. And the conservatives are pushing this big, round, Republican testicle around and around the race car track. And the liberals and the conservatives, they're pushing these big testicles faster and faster, and the Republican testicle is leading, and then the Democratic testicle is leading. And it's a race. And this race is called the elections. That's right. This race is called the elections. So, balancing on top of the Democratic testicle that's going around and around the race car track are three people. And the first person that's balancing on top of the Democratic testicle is none other than Bernie Sanders. And as Bernie Sanders balances on top of the Democratic testicle, he says, "I represent the progressive wing of the Democratic Party of kaboom Hiroshima and kaboom Nagasaki and tat 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 Vietnam and 100 years of yeehaw back when the Democrats ran the South." Now, another person balancing on top of the Democratic testicle going around and around the race car track, another person balancing on top of the Democratic testicle is Elizabeth Warren. And Elizabeth Warren, she says, as she balances on top of the Democratic testicle, she says, "I represent the most progressive wing of the Democratic Party because I have a pair of tits and a vagina, and having a pair of tits and a vagina makes me the most progressive candidate of the Democratic Party." And then there's a third person who's balancing on top of the Democratic testicle. And the third person balancing on top of the Democratic testicle is Joe Biden. And Joe Biden says, "I represent the most progressive candidate of the Democratic Party because I sucked Barack Obama's big black cock-a-doodle-doo for 8 years." Can you guess who's balancing on top of the Republican testicle? Well, that's right. Balancing on top of the Republican testicle that's going around and around the race car track is none other than Donald Trump. And Donald Trump says, I'm a big fat bourgeois pig. Wouldn't you like to eat me? Now, meanwhile, at a nearby love hotel, Mr. T, remember Mr. T? Big black guy? Mr. T is fucking this virgin prostitute named Maria, yeah! And they're immaculate conceptioning a carpenter named Jesus together, right? Now, Maria, while they're fucking, while Mr. T and Maria are fucking, Maria looks into the camera because it's a immaculate conception video. So Maria, she looks into the camera and says, do you need auto insurance? Well, if you need auto insurance, why don't you call the Pope's Ballssakk Auto Insurance today and get a free quote? And then Mr. T looks into the camera while he's still fucking Maria, you know, and Mr. T looks into the camera and he says, yeah, fool, you need auto insurance, so call up the Pope's Ballssakk today. Now, meanwhile, back at the race car track, the liberals and the conservatives have lost control of the Democratic and Republican testicles, and the Democratic and Republican testicles start rolling down the hill. The Democratic and Republican testicles start to knock down houses and trees. The Democratic and Republican testicles are rolling quickly, uncontrollably through the city streets, and the people are running from their lives from the Democratic and Republican testicles, and the people are screaming, ah, watch out, run for your lives, here comes the Democratic and Republican testicles. Well, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage of Election Choice 2020 between the Republican and the Democratic testicles. Brought to you by the Pope's Ballssakk Auto Insurance. 1-800 the Pope's Ballssakk. Call today. Well, I've been the Marquis du Sade, fucking Bozo the Clown up the ass. Good night. Hey, this is my book, Eulogy for the Human Race. BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com or whatever the bleep.com. Yippee! Bye-bye.